forget that sometimes love has to be tough. Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, said this. He said, hey, if you want to sow seeds of love into your kids, then follow through with correction. Parents, don't ever tell your kids, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do that, make sure this happens. If they disobey you and you go, well, I'm going to threaten you again, that's not what we want to do. We love our children by disciplining them, even when it hurts us, as much as it hurts them. Right? Mark, I think they're ready for some good news.
Glad I wasn't one of your kids. I wasn't real easy to live with, and I think if I was one of your kids, I'd have a permanent tattoo in my hand. Am I allowed to do that in church?
Go ahead.
Okay. Parents, I want to give you just a couple of things that we can do. I have some skills that I want to teach you. We're going to use the acronym TRAIN, as in train up a child. This is where you open up your bulletin, and you find this page, this insert that was in your bulletin. This has your notes, and this has the acronym TRAIN, and we made this separate so that you can actually stick this to your refrigerator or put it somewhere where you can see it. I think you're going to find some of these very helpful. These are something you can use regardless of your age or your position. These are not just for parents. If you're a teacher, you can use these skills in teaching kids in a school setting. If you're a grandparent or a great-grandparent, these will work just fine for that. If you're a brother or a sister, you can use these skills working with a brother or sister. These are universal skills, okay? Okay, we'll just jump right into it. The T in the word train stands for teach or train your children values. I love pastor and author Dr. Chuck Swindoll, and one of the things that he said a long time ago, I think in the early 90s, that stuck with me, is he said that he doesn't really care what his children do. He doesn't care whether they succeed or fail. All he wants for his children is character. Integrity of character, virtue, and integrity. And I agree with him, because if your children succeed in life, they will succeed because of the character and virtue and integrity. If they fail in life, they will handle failure wonderfully if they handle it because they have character and virtue and integrity. You have to teach them values. You need to teach them your values, because later on in life, they're going to parent their kids in the way that you parented them. This is huge in training them in the way of the Lord. The best 3 chapters in the Bible about parenting are the first 3 chapters of Proverbs. Basically, King Solomon is telling his son, or his sons, or his children, to seek after wisdom, because the fear of the Lord begins with wisdom, and wisdom begins with the fear of the Lord. It tells them all of these things to do and not to do, and these are great things to share with our children. Some of you read a proverb a day. At the beginning of the next month, go back to Proverbs at the beginning and look and see the wisdom or the type of information that King Solomon gives to his children. Pastor Howard mentioned earlier Proverb 22:6, which says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not turn from it. I like the last part of that verse. It says, when he is old, he will not turn from it. If you train them in the way of the Lord, it's going to come back later on, and it's going to be something that helps them when they need it the most. That's very huge. The next letter in train is the letter R. R stands for responsibility with your own behavior. This is huge. This is so gigantic. Let me tell you something that I've experienced as a parent. Kimberly and I will get our kids involved in playing something. Caleb with Legos or Lincoln Logs, McKenna playing with her dolls or throwing the ball up against the wall or something. And then we'll go into the kitchen and start having a conversation about something having to do with bills or something having to do with family or something serious. And then the next thing I know, Caleb comes walking in and issues his advice. We didn't know he was listening. We didn't know he was watching. But he was. And again, I find myself at times doing things in traffic or doing things in frustrating situations and saying, that was my grandfather coming out at me. I saw him do that 30 years ago. Or, that was so my mother. Becky, don't send this to Texas. So I want my mother to experience this DVD. I may not put it on YouTube because she wants to. Well, I probably will. But parents, in all reality, mind your manners, particularly around your children. They will pick up on all of your quirks and all the little things that you do. And again, like I said earlier, it will come out. when they least expect it. So, I want you to listen to Jesus' take on this matter, okay? Matthew 18, verses 1 through 6. The context is that the disciples have kind of gotten into this discipleship thing, and they really believe in the kingdom of heaven, that it has come and that it's coming. And so they're kind of talking amongst themselves. And one of them gets the nerve to come up to Jesus and say, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And I love Jesus' response. It's so classic. He pulls a little child out of the crowd, and he stands the child amongst the disciples. And he says, I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of God, or the kingdom of heaven. Parents, unless you change and become like a little child, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. What Jesus is talking about here is innocence. There is a primal innocence that is a part of the Christian character. People know that you go to church, but do they perceive you as innocent? Listen to what he says. He says, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Remember, the new gospel, the New Testament is the great reversal. Okay? The disciples were just getting that. They thought that the greatest meant the leader, the greatest, and yet Jesus is saying that the greatest is the most innocent. It's the one like this child. It's the great reversal. Whoever becomes like this child is the greatest, and whoever welcomes a child like this in my name, in other words, whoever welcomes innocence, whoever praises innocence, welcomes Jesus. But, here's the big but, okay? But, if anyone causes one of these little ones who believes in me to sin, it would be better for him to die. It would be better for you to die. He says it would be better for you to tie a millstone around your neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. This whole passage is talking about innocence. It's talking about innocence. Be responsible for your own behavior. Become like an innocent child. Be perceived as innocent, not worldly wise. Youth. If you get nothing out of this sermon but this is what I want you to know. This is all you have to know. Don't be in a big rush to grow up and lose your innocence. Don't be in a big rush to grow up and have all of the freedom of an adult and lose your innocence. Your entire culture is dead set against you having any kind of innocence. You can't watch cartoons without seeing children who are rebellious against their parents and losing their innocence young. You watch MTV, you even watch some of the Christian broadcasting, and it's about kids becoming worldly wise. That's not God's desire for your life. Keep that innocence. Let it be a part of who you are to the point where it surprises your friends in school that you didn't know about what that phrase means, that you didn't see that show, that you don't know what that song means. You have to stay innocent. Your parents need it. Your parents need it. The letter A in train stands for awareness of uniquenesses. Parents, study your kids, okay? When they come home from school, follow them around. They go to their bedroom, follow them into their bedroom. They go into the bathroom, wait for them to come out. Follow them wherever they're going. I'm studying. Okay. Study your kids, don't stalk them. Okay? It's different. Observe what they say. Observe what they do. When they have those innocent moments, let that register in your mind so that will help you to become more like children. I know that seems backwards because we're supposed to teach them. But in some ways, they don't even know they're doing it. Their job is to teach us. Remember, the gospel is the great reversal. It's the great reversal. Children, stay innocent because your parents have to learn how to be innocent from you. Parents, be aware of how unique your children are. You have to love them according to their uniquenesses. I say study them because, again, Chuck Swindoll said something that broke my heart one time. He said that even though his father was probably the greatest influence in his life, but when he buried his father, he buried a man that he virtually did not know. Don't let your children say that about you. And don't find